Welcome here to a very special broadcast of Sonny D with Sonny Spera and myself, Dan Tortora, a product of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we feature the Binghamton Bearcats men's basketball team here in the Southern Tier and a part of the America East. I am so honored and so privileged to welcome not only Sonny Spera, but Levell Sanders, the head coach of the team, as well as Jake Falko and Dan Petcash to the broadcast. For the first time ever, we get to honor and spotlight the Binghamton Bearcats. Gentlemen, how are you doing tonight?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Doing well. Thank you for having us.
Doing good.
Absolutely. So, Sonny, I'll defer to you and let you fire away.
Let me start, huh? All right. So I'm going to start with Levell. So I've got to know Levell over the couple of years here. It's pretty good. Another Big East guy, man. So, Levell, talk about your journey to Binghamton University.
Wow. So I'm not going to go all the way back, but I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and went to Seton Hall University. After I graduated from Seton Hall University, I went overseas to play professional basketball. Did that for 17 years. After a 17-year playing career, I got into coaching, and I was a head coach over in the Czech Republic for 4 years. And my daughter was about 5 years old, and I was looking for an opportunity to come back to the States, just because I wanted her to grow up with a little bit more diversity. And so opportunity at Binghamton presented itself because I knew the assistant coach who was actually leaving at the time, Herb Courtney, might have recruited Dan.
Herb's a good guy.
And so Herb called me and told me that he was leaving, position was opening up. And, if I wanted to get the position, reach out and talk to Tommy and maybe, talk to Pat Elliott, who was the AD at the time, who recruited me to Seton Hall when I was at Seton Hall. And so, I had a conversation with Pat, conversation with Coach Dempsey. And, I ended up, coming over here and being an assistant coach. June 2019 was my first year back in the States. And, started being an assistant under Tommy Dempsey. Did that for 2 years. And then when they didn't renew Tommy's contract, Pat Elliott asked me if I wanted to take over, the program. And I said, of course. And here we are.
So you played professionally in what country?
I played in the Czech Republic, Poland, and Belgium.
17 years. You think you might have had the longest overseas professional career of any Seton Hall Pirate, or no?
That I know of. I know I know Remus probably had a pretty good career. But I think, I'm probably had the longest playing career of any Seton Hall Pirate that I know.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. So talk about your transition from coaching in the Czech Republic to coaching back home in the USA.
At first it was as an assistant. And so that's totally different from being a head coach. I think especially back in the States, just because I think, when you're an assistant, you just, you have some random ideas, or you have some thoughts of what could be, and it depends on what kind of person you're working for and working with, and so it was different, just again because I had a different role. But I think now being a head coach, it's not that much different. You're making a lot of decisions. I think the one advantage that I have here right now is that I have really good assistant coaches. And, I give them an opportunity to be really active and participate. All of those guys have job descriptions and they do their jobs really well. And so it gives me an opportunity to kind of just focus on, I kind of focus on the offense of the team. And, we have different coaches that focus on other things. And again, I think that works well because there's so many things going on, running a college program. And, when you're tied up in everything, I think you don't take advantage of being able to focus on a few things and doing those things well. And so, I think it's a lot easier for me here just because I have a lot more help. Overseas, I had one assistant coach and, I was jammed with work.
All right. I'm going to start. Dan, let me ask you the same question. What was your journey to Binghamton and what were some of the other schools you were thinking of?
All right. So I think I started playing basketball probably before I can even remember, probably like third grade or before that. And I grew up playing mainly basketball. I played baseball too until like 7th grade. But yeah, basketball has always been my favorite sport. It's always been my dream to play Division I basketball. And so I played all the way through high school. And it wasn't until my senior year and around January that Binghamton offered me a scholarship. And then I was talking to a couple other schools, Elon and Cornell were the two main other ones that I was talking to, like in the spring of my senior year of high school. Mm-hmm. And then I came on my official visit the end of March, I believe, in my senior year of high school. And I just loved everything about Binghamton. And at the end of my visit, I committed. And it's been one of the best decisions I ever made. So that's been my journey to Binghamton so far, yeah.
Great. Jake, how about yourself?
Yeah, so I started playing basketball when I was like late 12, maybe 13 years old. And right away, as soon as I started playing.
He was a hockey player.
Yeah, I played hockey. So play hockey, soccer, all that. But yeah, so I started playing and then I fell in love with it right away. And I always wanted to go to Division I. That was like my dream. As soon as I started playing, I didn't even know much about basketball at the time, but I was like, my goal was just to go Division I. So I played high school in a really small area. Not many people play basketball there. It's not very good, but I played there 4 years on varsity, broke like the county record in scoring, all that. And then I had 0 offers coming out of high school. No Division I, no Division II, no even D3 schools were after me. So I went to my local JUCO. It's like 5 minutes away from my house, and I was already kind of cool with the coach there because my older brother had played the year before. So I ended up going there, gave me a great opportunity. After my first year there, we went to the Final Four in the national tournament, and that was really big for my exposure. I picked up a bunch of Division II offers after that, and then decided to stay at JUCO for my second year. And I just like kind of bet on myself that I could end up getting a Division I scholarship. So I went pretty crazy that year. I ended up being like All-American, stuff like that. I was like 3rd place in voting for Player of the Year nationally. So recruitment really picked up, and then I ended up going to Gardner-Webb University last year. It was a good experience. I made my goal of getting to the Division I level, but I won't go into too much detail to why I transferred. But when I ended up deciding to transfer, I know Coach Johnson reached out to me very soon, and then Coach L also. And a bunch of my coaches from Cecil, that's the JUCO I went to, they actually know Coach B because he used to coach in the same conference. So they were all telling me like it's a really good spot too. And I really connected with the whole coaching staff and felt like it was going to be a great spot for me, and it has been.
Now, do you get that year back? So do you get 2 years at Binghamton or no?
Yeah, I have this year and then one more.
Good, great. Dan, you're up.
And so, Coach, to go back to you and just what you've been able to see in your career with the sport of basketball, being overseas, I think it's underlooked and underappreciated in the States. And Sonny obviously spoke about the length of your career. What can you say attributed to that? And obviously, I know there's certain things that are out of your control, like, freak injuries and whatnot, but what would you speak to when it comes to the longevity that you had as a professional player? And what can you say about the importance of playing overseas? Because there is so much great competition all over the world, and I don't think it gets the spotlight it deserves.
Yes, I think 2 things. Number one, being healthy. And, my first year after when I came home from playing overseas, I let myself go. I had a little bit of money. I wasn't working out. I was going out a lot, kind of, and just enjoying myself. And that I came home in late May, early June. By August, I had ran through like $30,000 in cash. And so I was like, man, I was so hungry to get back overseas. And luckily I had another year in my contract. But when I went back overseas, I was overweight, out of shape, and the team was going to cut me. So I got with a trainer over there, and I, worked my way back in shape. the good thing about overseas is they bring you back in August, and the season doesn't start until October. And so you have a 2-month period of kind of preseason training camp. And so I was able to work my way back into shape. And so I think from that, I understood, like what it meant to be professional. And I had to take care of myself, take care of my body. And so, I think by me realizing that after my first year, it really put me on the path of eating right, getting the proper regeneration that I needed. When I came home in the summertime, I didn't play any basketball. I always kind of cross train. I like running, so I did a lot of running. Actually ended up buying a house down in Florida. And so I was down in Florida a lot, played a lot of tennis. So I didn't do a lot with basketball in the summertime. And I think that kind of put some more years, because a lot of guys come home and they playing on the concrete, all summer. And you have the overseas is a grind. It's 10 months. And, you're practicing. Sometimes you got some of these crazy coaches, you're practicing twice a day, really hard. And so it takes a toll on your body. So I think you have to give yourself an opportunity to recover and recuperate, in the summertime. And I think I did that. So I think that was one. And then the other part is, you have to play well. If you don't play well, you have no chance to survive overseas, because there's, as you said, there's so much competition. And nowadays,
especially at the guard spot, especially at the guard. And, when I was playing this, it wasn't as bad as it is now. I remember when I was coaching over there, and I would get emails and Facebook messages every day from players just wanting an opportunity. And guys would say, listen, I'll pay my own airfare. All I need is a place to stay, something to eat. And so when you and now some of these kids are pretty good. I remember I was playing in the Czech Republic, and we had a kid in our league that was making $600 a month. He, as Jake said, he bet on himself. Went over there, was making $600 a month. He led the league in scoring. And when somebody come over there and do that, you $600 a month, you lead the league in scoring. And now the owners start looking at, well, why I'm paying you $12,000 a month when we can go find a kid that we can pay for $600 a month. And so, you have to play well. And so I think if you can stay healthy, take care of yourself, and you play well, I think you can have a long career. And I think another thing, John Morton, who was, played in the NBA, went to Seton Hall. Yep. I remember when I first came out of school in 1998, there was a lockout. And so I was supposed to go to the New Jersey Nets camp, and they didn't have any camp because the lockout started. And so John told me, he was like, listen, you need to find a place overseas where you can go and play 10 to 15 years. And so you can have a long career. But a lot of times what guys do, they go over there and they go from country to country to country. And they never get a chance to know who you are. So if I didn't stay in the Czech Republic for as long as I did, I never would have had the opportunity to become a coach over there, right? Because they wouldn't have known who I was. And so that's also, I think, part of it is also finding a place you can play 10, 15 years. A lot of guys that probably made a lot more money than me, like at certain years, they probably made more money than me, but they never played 17 years in a row. So I was able to get paid for 17 years in a row, right? And so I end up, coming out on top in terms of being able to earn more money than they had, where, they might have had a year or two where they were earning more money than me. But again, I had 17 years in a row of being paid.
And there's also the experience that you have and the knowledge and the wisdom that you take with you. Jake and Dan, this is for both of you. Jake, I'll start with you first here. Just what attracted you to the program of Binghamton and to Levell Sanders, just what the message was that really spoke to you. And Jake, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so one big thing for me coming out of JUCO, when I went to Gardner-Webb University, I was playing there. I wasn't really given a lot of freedom and stuff. And the main thing I was looking for out of the portal was like just a little bit more freedom to play. And Coach L said right away, he was like, he was a pro. He knows what it's like to have somebody just like have you on a leash the whole time. And he pretty much told me, like, you're going to have a lot more freedom here. Got to play defense, obviously, and stuff. But he really lets us play. And that was the biggest part in getting me here.
Dan?
Yeah, I think to piggyback off Jake a little bit, Coach L has been great in the aspect of I think he's like a player's coach in the way that he listens to kind of like what the players want and stuff, and with him playing so long overseas, like he knows kind of like how players like to play, and so kind of like what Jake said, he gives us a lot of freedom to play how we want to play, and I think it's been working really well so far.
And Dan, to stay with you here for a second, do you remember the first moment you picked up a basketball, and what made you fall in love with the sport? So that initial moment, do you recall that moment, and then what carried you through to really wanting to make something of it?
My earliest memory of basketball is probably we would have like it was like a youth camp type thing, and like all my best friends, we all played basketball together, and I think it was something about the relationships you build kind of when you're playing basketball, and I think that goes for sports in general, in that like with basketball, there's when everyone's working towards a common goal, I think it's something that is pretty special, and I think that's what we're trying to build here at Binghamton. But like for basketball in general, I think it has the reason I fell in love with it was because of the relationships that you make in it, and that you can't really get that same kind of thing elsewhere.
And Jake, for you, same thing of where it all started for you, and then secondly, because you've had such a road, and because maybe some things that were promised or some hopes that you had didn't come through, when did you start getting into it? And then going through everything you've been through, what made you stay in love with basketball instead of just giving up?
Yeah, I mean, when I started playing, I actually got into it because the very first school I played at this small school. I still remember it was called Lighthouse Christian Academy. This kid from my church said they needed an extra guy to come and play. So I was like, all right, I don't even know how to play basketball at all. And then I just remember the first practice, I just fell in love with it, started watching basketball a lot. I was doing dribbling drills with like a mini basketball in my basement at 13 years old. So, but yeah, and then after high school, not having any offers or anything, it was pretty devastating to me. But instead of quitting, I was just like, maybe if I just work a little bit harder, then maybe I still can reach my goal of playing Division I and stuff. So I just grinded it out, and then I'm really thankful to my coach at Cecil for giving me the opportunity to play and then keep my dream alive. And he gave me so much freedom also playing there that I basically was doing whatever I wanted, like in the offense and stuff. So that was those 2 years that I played at JUCO was, like Dan said, those memories that you build, you never forget them. I still talk to all my teammates from Cecil pretty much every single day. So building those relationships, that's the biggest part of basketball to me. It's you never forget the guys that you play with, and it's like a relationship you have for life.
I want to ask Dan a question. Dan, are you a junior this year? This your third year?
Yeah, I'm a junior.
All right. So you've been with the program because you know the event center is a great place and there's great community support, but there's a different vibe, man. There is a different feel and look to this team. Talk a little bit about some of the excitement and some of the things that you're feeling or seeing and experiencing now for this squad.
Yeah, I think definitely this year there's a lot of excitement around the team, and it's something you can definitely sense on our home games, and I'm sure we'll see it again this Saturday. But yeah, I think the fans, they really they know what we're trying to build, and I think they believe in us as much as we believe in us. And yeah, it's really cool to play for fans that are really engaged and they want to see you win, and they really appreciate all the hard work that you've been putting in. And especially with last year playing in front of no fans, and it really helps you appreciate even more this year, like how much they can impact the game. And yeah, I think the fans they're really appreciative of the hard work, and it really helps us a lot in the games.
Jake, what are some of the things that you're experiencing now? You've junior college, that's one level, right? You played at Gardner Webb. What's some of the things that you're starting to get a sense of the culture that's now here at Binghamton? What are some of the things you're seeing and enjoying?
I mean, like Dan said, the crowds are amazing. I know last year for me, we didn't have any fans either. I think there was one game we played at Florida State where there was fans, but it was like really limited and stuff. So, and obviously at JUCO, there's not really any fans. It's pretty much my family was the only people at games. So coming to like the game the other day, we had 2,000 fans or something. It was just crazy. And it plays a big part of it. Yeah. Like when we played Hartford, we were down like 20 at some point, and they were a huge part of us coming back, to be honest. Like we got a couple stops in a row, and then you just hear the crowd getting electric, and like maybe they don't realize it, but we really feed off of it. So.
Well, Coach, talk about some of the things that because you're an assistant coach, so you're part of the program. Now you're the steward. You're the captain of the ship. What are some of the things that you wanted to see? Because obviously a team takes on your personality. So what are some of the things that you wanted to put out there as, hey, this is going to be our calling card. These are some of the things we're going to work hard on. What are some of the things you thought would be an emphasis for you?
Well, one was working hard, and I think one of the first things I told our trainer was that I don't really care what you do, but I want you to make it hard, right? And I think that was important. That's important because, I always tell these guys, like, before we can get into any kind of like tactical things or, you have to play hard and you have to compete. And I think that's the main thing we wanted to get across, because without that, there's you can't do anything. You have to go out there and compete. I mean, all of the games that we play, that's all we're talking about. When we started early in the year, the main thing we were harping on was competing. We go and play Connecticut, team that everybody expect you're going to get beat by 50. We just talked to our guys about competing. And I think, again, that's one of the biggest things we wanted to bring to this team. And we wanted to have a culture of competitiveness and guys competing. We had some practices this year where we kind of scored everything, put two teams in practice. We just scored everything. And I think those are some of our better practices when we were just going through like every drill, this team was against this team and you were kind of competing against each other, right? And they can see the scoreboard. And so those were kind of that was just something that we wanted to lay from the beginning, was just the competitiveness. And then the other thing, the last thing is just being together. We say in our huddle, we say 1, 2, 3, let's get hot, 4, 5, 6, we say together. And I truly believe that we can't do this thing individually, right? Like basketball is a team sport. It's one of the things that, again, Jake might get a lot of the headlines and accolades, but Jake doesn't do it by himself. Jake doesn't score a lot of the baskets that he score by himself. Guys are setting him good screens. You have teammates that can shoot the ball, that's space in the floor for him. And so, we have to do this thing together. We have to stay together. We have 13 scholarship players and everybody wants to play 40 minutes and it's not possible, right? And so, again, you have to understand, and I tell these guys, the guys that are not playing at the moment, it doesn't mean you should be, you shouldn't be engaged, right? It doesn't mean you shouldn't be a good teammate, because the only way you're going to be prepared and ready for your opportunity when it comes is if you are engaged and what plays we are running and what we want offensively and defensively. You have to be engaged on the bench, because if you are not, it's when you come into the game, it's going to show. And I think the worst thing that you can do is, not be prepared when your number is called. And we've had a number of guys who've been in that role. Like you take a guy like George Tinsley, for example, and I talked to George, this year, and was basically just telling him, like, listen, you're not doing anything wrong in terms of why you're not playing a lot of minutes. He's just playing behind Christian Hinkson, who's playing really well. And, George was on the other side of that before, right? He was, guys were playing behind him that he was playing really well. And so, but George has been really great with the way he approached it. He's mature. He doesn't pout. He practices hard. He's always engaged. And so we have to make sure that we understand that the only way we're going to do this is by doing this together. So playing hard, competing, and being together is kind of the three things that, I think we wanted to kind of lay our foundation on.
And Jake, to go to you for this, and Dan, I want to hear your thoughts on this as well. Being a student athlete, you already know what it is to watch film, go to practice, lift, run, play in the games, and whatnot, and travel. On top of all of that, being a student in the classroom, on top of all of that, you've had to deal with a pandemic. There's obviously transfer portal now, name, image, and likeness. The world of a collegiate athlete only continues to become more multi-layered and more of a confusing lasagna, if you will, at times. So, Jake, how have you navigated through this, and how have you kept your mental toughness being a student, being an athlete, and then having to deal on top of that with a pandemic and everything else that's come with the evolution of collegiate athletics?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work, to be honest. You got practice, and then you go to 3-4 hours of class right away, and then you have study hall and stuff like that. Plus, we're always on the road, traveling. Like, we just came back from Stony Brook last night at 3 a.m., and then we had individual workouts earlier. So it's a grind, but I enjoy it a lot. There's nothing I'd rather do. So, I mean, I don't mind putting all the work in.
How did you deal, and how have you dealt with the pandemic and with, kind of realizing of the last couple of years that you literally cannot control anything but yourself?
Yeah, sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes you'll test positive. I know last year we were testing like every other day or something. So guys would test and then they're just out of games for like 2 weeks or whatever the quarantine period was. So, I mean, I understand like the state and stuff is trying to make it so everyone can stay healthy as possible and stuff in the pandemic. But yeah, it's a lot going on with that. So I feel like you just got to do your best to stay healthy, take care of your body, stuff like that.
And Dan, for you, same look here: student, athlete, pandemic, name, image, and likeness, transfer portal. There's so many things that are affecting the world of collegiate athletics now, and a lot of it not within the control. Now, name, image, and likeness gives an opportunity for you to have some more control. Transfer portal gives more control to the players, but the pandemic obviously gave control to none of us. And being a student athlete asks a lot of you. How do you juggle it all, and how do you stay mentally tough?
I think the biggest thing is just trying to stay positive about it. I know one thing we have, like something we talk about on our team is a lot is like a no complaining rule, or like if we're traveling to Maine or something, which is like a 10-hour bus ride, and we have a no complaining rule where you're not allowed to complain about, oh, this bus ride sucks or anything like that, and just try to stay positive about it, that we're able to go and play Maine, and like we're able to go play that game. And I think the same thing goes with the pandemic. While you might not be able to control it, is just to stay positive about it, like your circumstance that you're in, that be positive that you're healthy, and and then along the lines of the student athlete part with having so much going on, I think one thing that makes it easier is if you really do enjoy and love the game of basketball, I think it makes it a lot easier. Even though you have so much going on, I think it's something like, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, like, you get to instead of you have to. Like, we get to practice every day instead of we have to practice every day, which I think it's along the lines of staying positive too. So even though you have as student athletes, you have a lot going on, I think it's something that you really enjoy doing. So even though it's a lot, it should be something that you enjoy either way.
And Coach, for you, what have you tried to do in these last couple of years as a leader? Because you're supposed to be the person that these players can come to and say, hey, what are we going to do? I have, what are we going to do with this pandemic? What are we going to do with the unknown, so to speak? Normally, the coach is supposed to have an answer. We live in a world where it's been very difficult for anybody to find an answer. How have you worked to be a leader at a time where sometimes the answer to Jake or to Dan is, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you have to be okay with saying I don't know. I don't know everything, so that's first and foremost. I wasn't in the heart of the pandemic. I was an assistant coach, and I thought Tommy did a really, really good job of like kind of managing everything and having us in pods and it was a lot, and I thought he did a really good job of it. But I'm about collaboration, and so the guys were talking about earlier. I'm willing to listen to everybody. I get a lot of feedback from the coaches, and so I know that I don't have to do it alone, right? And I think part of leading is being able to listen, and again, not thinking you know everything, because we can learn a lot from listening. And so that's the role I take on. Sometimes you do have to make decisions, and that's fine, because that's part of the job description. But again, I'm that guy that wants to collaborate, and I think it's more important to not just to have my ideas out there, but to have everybody, circulating ideas, and that we can come up with the best idea or the best solution for whatever the problem is.
And Levell, before we jump into rapid fire here, for you to be named the interim head coach, just what that means to you, because you are the head coach, you are the leader, but to be in a place where you are a bridge and at the same time, there's a hope for a potential future to stay the leader. How do you handle being an interim head coach? And is your intent to be the full-time leader of this program? Is Binghamton the place that you feel is best for you?
Yeah, I never looked at myself as an interim head coach, and it's kind of like a title that you got, because I still had to, lead the program. I still had to prepare the guys, and so I talked to Coach Amica. Coach Amica is a guy that I talk to, whenever I got major decisions I need to make in my life, and that's the first thing he told me was like, don't go about it and don't do the job if you're trying to get the job. Do it like you have the job. And that was my mindset from the beginning. I was in the summertime. I was in New York City meeting some donors and some alumni. And one of the questions they asked was, how does it feel to be an interim head coach? And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't even think about it. Right. Because I never think about that, being an interim head coach, only if somebody says it. So yeah, of course, I would like to be the head coach, be named the head coach. But again, those decisions are not up to me, and I don't really worry about that. My focus is preparing a team and have the team being able to perform, have guys be able to graduate, and run the program, and then all of the other things that you don't control. I don't worry about it. Right, I can control the team and how we perform and how we play, and that's what I put my focus on.
What were you guys selected to finish at the beginning of the year, Levell?
10th.
Where are you guys at now?
3rd.
Enough said.
Right.
Name him the coach. Simple.
There you go. Got an endorsement here from Sonny and from myself, Dan Tortora. And I got to tell you, Levell, there is nothing about you that says interim to me whatsoever. So I think we need to just kind of, white that part out, take that eraser to it, and move on with our lives. So right. Speaking of moving on, rapid fire, our final piece of the broadcast, it gives us the opportunity to get to know each other and for everybody watching and listening to do the same. What's going to happen is it has nothing to do with sports. We can literally ask each other about anything. I am going to call on each of you at a time, and whoever you ask the question to, whatever question you ask is totally fine, whatever you want to ask, that person will ask you the question back. So, Jake, I'll start with you. You pick the person and the question.
So I just pick a person and a random question?
Yep.
Coach L, what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie. Oh, so I have to answer the question and ask it back to him, right?
So you answer the question, then you can ask him whatever you want.
Ask him whatever you want.
Oh, okay. My favorite movie is Bad Boys, with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. And Jake, how many brothers and sisters do you have? Because I actually really don't know this question.
I got 4 brothers and 3 sisters.
Okay.
There you go, man. That's a busy dinner table.
Very easy.
Poor
And you got
brother.
to see the game.
That's a lot of cereal boxes.
Listen, when you got to come to the game, you see some of the games on the road. I mean, there's so many people there to see Jake. I don't know like who is who. You know, I know his mom. You know, other than that,
They got to get jerseys. They got to get jerseys.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Basically, this is how you look at it, Levell. The first 37 people through the gate are just his siblings. Then you move on from there.
Wait till we get to UMBC. It's going to be like 100 people watch.
Right.
I love it. Got to send those buses out.
Attendance is up on the road. He's got to get a little something for that, a little NIL. You got to work that angle.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to get a bus company to start supporting you. And as Dan said, you can't complain about it when you're on that bus. All right. Sonny, go ahead and pick somebody.
I got to pick somebody?
Yep.
I would normally pick Levell, but you know what? He just got Jake. So let me ask Dan. Dan, so you've been here. What's your favorite place to hang out when you're not playing hoops?
My favorite place to hang out when I'm not playing hoops.
Come on, that's easy. Stop acting like you're trying to. That's easy.
Huh.
Don't cheat. There's no cheating.
I'd say, I mean, really, honestly, I really like just hanging out like in our apartment, like with my roommates and stuff, and with my teammates.
All right. Cool.
All right, then Sonny, what's your favorite place to hang out at?
My favorite place to hang out. Well, you know, I love the gym, man. I just love being in the gym. I love everything about it. I love, you know, because you know, in high school, right, and when it starts, the smell, the sounds, just everything about the gym, the stink sometimes, everything about it. It's like walking into a church. It's sacred. All your troubles go away, and it's like, this is it. You can say and do a lot of different things here you just can't do anywhere else.
I love that. All right. Levell, go ahead and ask somebody a question.
All right, Dan, I got you. Dan, was it Tortora?
Tortora, yep.
All right. Where are you from? I kind of hear I hear an accent. So I'm, you know, where are you from?
It's weird. It's like I do impressions, so I kind of like take on other people's stuff if I'm around them for a while. But I am Italian and Hispanic, and when I'm in, and I'm hearing it from you for sure, but when I'm around my family, like on the island and whatnot, when I'm in that area, my Italian gets really thick. But I'm born and raised in Syracuse.
Syracuse?
Yes. Is that your question? You have a follow-up?
No, that's good.
All right, that's it. All right. So Syracuse, New York. Mike, one back to you, Levell. So you're from Brooklyn, you said, right?
Yep.
Best place to eat in Brooklyn?
Man, I haven't eaten in a long time, but I would go with Junior's downtown Brooklyn.
Junior's cheesecake.
Yeah.
And you know what? As soon as you said it, I knew it because Diddy in Making the Band used to make the band walk to Junior's. He used to tell them they had to cross the bridge, no car, walk on foot, and it was an hour away, and he gave them 13 minutes or else he was going to close the studio down.
Right. Exactly. I mean,
my daughter made me walk that. I was sore for a week.
Yeah.
So, Levell, is there a favorite cheesecake from Junior's?
You know what? I actually don't even eat cheesecake.
Where'd you get that?
Oh, man.
I just said Junior's because I thought it was something people would know.
Shut his feet off. Don't let him talk anymore.
Yeah, I don't eat cheesecake.
That's a sin.
What did you get from Junior's in Brooklyn then?
I used to get burgers. Because they have food. They have food. It's like a restaurant.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're not eating burgers now.
No.
Do you have any favorite burger that was from there?
No, just regular cheeseburger.
Regular cheeseburger. All right, fair enough. All right, Dan, you got the final one. Ask away.
All right, Jake, what is your favorite place to eat in Binghamton?
I was literally going to ask that to my next.
That's a great question, man. I would have asked that same one.
That's a tough one. I like Nurchi's. Nurchi's and Mario's. I would say those two.
Nurchi's has that honey mustard chicken or something like that pizza. I've had it before.
Oh, if I get pizza, I just get the plain cheese. That's all I eat.
Yeah, I like Nurchi's.
Nurchi's makes that nice sheet pie. It's a little soft, a little chewy.
Yeah.
Where's Mario?
Mario's is like New York pie. It's a little bit thinner.
Mario's is in U Club.
Oh,
What's that?
okay.
Mario's Pizza. He was talking about. All right, so Jake, you get to ask Dan back now, whatever you want.
All right. What's your favorite sport besides basketball?
Definitely golf. Yeah, in the summers and stuff, whenever I'm not playing basketball, like me, my two brothers, and my dad, we go golfing like whenever we can, and it's something we've done that all growing up, and it's something I really enjoy doing. Yeah, golf, definitely golf.
With that being said, Jake Falko, Dan Petcash, as well as head coach Levell Sanders, and Sonny Spera and myself, Dan Tortora. This has been a special Sonny and D broadcast brought to you here by Progressive Dental, and of course, a product of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is Sonny and D. You can find out more information and make your appointment today at progressivedentalny.com. For the Binghamton Bearcats, for all of Binghamton University, and for this fantastic men's basketball team, Levell, Jake, Dan, thank you so much for giving us a look inside of the program and for helping us to get to know you a little bit better.
Appreciate you guys. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you for having us.